NASCAR was at Talladega this weekend. They raced, they competed, and one driver came on top. One driver that was facing elimination. Other drivers just had a tough day, and some drivers find themselves in a must-win situation.
Wynn's gonna punch his ticket to the championship four.
Got him this time. Oh, he turned it!
No! Make room! Richard Petty and Dale Earnhardt. There's another 7-time champ. Third by Logano, maybe no. Kenseth takes him out.
Look, using lessons learned from his father to go from 6th to 1st and score the victory in the Pepsi 400.
20 years of trying, 20 years of frustration. 3 flags in the air.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is Cameron Simpson. Thank you for being with us. And we are talking all things NASCAR today. And we start with the most obvious, the winner, Ryan Blaney, locks himself into the next round of the playoffs. He continues to prove to us that he belongs in the playoffs, because I think a lot of us may have Ryan Blaney wrote off at the beginning of this year. We might have had him, nah, he doesn't have a chance, who cares? I think most of us did have him written off, but some of us now have begun to feel like maybe we underestimated Ryan Blaney. Maybe just a little bit. Maybe we had a little underestimation when it came to Ryan Blaney. I thought he had a very good race today. He ran up front towards the end and in the back at most points. He kept himself alive. And at racetracks like Talladega, Daytona, even Atlanta, it's all about surviving. And for the most part, we didn't have a lot of big crashes today. So it's also about, in my opinion, it was also about getting to the front. Because I didn't think it was as important just to stay in the back and survive. I don't think today was really a survival race at that point. I think it was, you had to have some skill, you had to get yourself in the front, and then you had to get yourself in a position at the end of the race. And Ryan Blaney did that. I thought today showed what a great product super speedway racing can be. How amazing this type of racing can be. Because it wasn't about, oh, there's going to be a huge wreck. I guess at the end there was a very big wreck. But that was at the last lap. For most of the race, it was, all right, we have to get to the front. Track position was key because there was 2 lanes with a lot of cars in the track. So it actually did really bring a really big emphasis on running in the front and doing well. And a lot of them were able to do it. Some of them were not able to do it, right? And we'll talk about those playoff drivers in a second. But the ones that were able to do it got to the front, and they ended up leading this race. And they took it so far, like Ryan Blaney, who at the end was able to get the win. And I mean, I was really rooting for Harvick at the end. I saw him up front, and I see Harvick, and I see this is his final race. He's got a bunch of fans in the stands, and I was just really hoping that Harvick was going to get in there and win this race. And unfortunately, it didn't happen. Harvick, just his guy who was, I think this was his 4th career start, Riley Siege, or I think that was his name. It was only his 4th career start. He has not done this long enough. He goes towards the front, he tries to get something going, and he failed. It was simple as that. He failed in doing it. It was very unfortunate for Harvick because, like I said, if it wasn't for that, I think he gets that win. Even though he didn't have that push, he had just inches. So if he had that push at the end, he probably gets the win. So it really does stink for Kevin. It stinks for everybody, honestly, but really tough day for Harvick. Let's look at some of these finishing results. You're going to see that it's very stagnant. I mean, there was restarts after restarts, so you're going to see not too many playoff drivers up front. We got Blaney with the win, and then, of course, we talked about Harvick in 2nd. Then we get William Byron in 3rd. He's had a good race. He's already locked into the next round. He won last week. Hamlin in 4th, who battled. By the way, Hamlin was a lap down at one point in this race. He battled his way all the way from being a lap down to getting towards the front and unlapping himself. And it was a really interesting battle between him and Austin Cindric. Both were lapped down. Both were battling position-wise to get into that free pass spot. I enjoyed watching that battle from those two. Corey LaJoie in 5th, always does good here, great finish. Austin Cindric ends up as well getting to 6th place after being lapped down, so that was good for him. Justin Haley in 7th. Chase Elliott in the Owners' Points Championship in 8th. Ryan Preece in 9th. Riley Herbst in 10th. Daniel Suarez in 11th. Chandler Smith in 12th. Todd Gilliland in 13th. Chase Briscoe in 14th, and Christopher Bell in 15th. Playoff drivers outside the top 15, we got Larson in 16th, Reddick, tough points day, in 17th, Truex in 19th, Chris Buescher in 20th, Bubba Wallace in 24th, Kyle Busch in 26th, and that might be it. Brad Keselowski 33rd, involved in a crash. Ross Chastain 38th, involved in a crash between him and Kyle Busch. They got into it. Kyle Busch had a really fast car at times, fell to the back, wasn't there when he needed to be. I mentioned that there was a lot of great battles going on. I touched upon the one in Stage 2 between the 8 car and the 1 car. 47 had just a problem. 8 couldn't go anywhere, and they got all collected after that. I'm trying to think of another instance where we had an incident happen. That was really probably the biggest one. We had one big wreck with the 6 car going into the wall. That was a pretty big wreck. And then at the end of the race, they all started wrecking. Riley Siege went for a ride at the end of the race. What else can I say? I guess I want to talk about the points. I have a couple things I want to say when it comes to the points and some drivers that find themselves in really tough spots going into next week. All right, leading the points is Byron and Blaney. They're locked in. Hamlin's very comfortable, plus 50. He's not technically locked in, but he will be at some point at the Roval as long as he runs well. Bell, 22 points is good. He's not very comfortable. Things happen at the Roval. We'll see. A guy like Buescher, 19 points, not comfortable. Truex, 17 points is good. He's also not comfortable, but he's very good at road courses, so I feel good about Truex. Larson's only 15 points is good, also good at road courses, so I feel good about him. And here we go. Keselowski, 2 points to the good, panic button. Be on alert, Brad Keselowski fans. Reddick is very, very good at road courses, but the Roval's a wild card. We'll see. He's 2 points out. Ross Chastain, 9 points out. He's another guy that has a hill to climb in these next few races. Bubba Wallace is also 9 points out, and he's not good at road courses that much. Kyle Busch, 26 points out. He doesn't technically need to win, but he's going to have to run first and second. He's going to have to collect a buttload of stage points, and he's going to need drivers to have problems with that. I put him in a must-win situation. Kyle Busch has finished 3rd and 4th the last 2 years at the Roval, so we'll see if he can kind of take that into next week. With that said, there's not really much else that I can think of at the top of my head. You know, the race was very exciting through most of the time, but there wasn't a lot of dramatic moments that happened throughout the most of it. You know, we look at the Roval next week. I'm looking at guys like Kyle Busch. He needs to have a good week. It's going to have to start in qualifying. It's going to have to start in practice. Hamlin, he looks comfortable, but you never know. And there's some other guys too. They look good on paper, but they might not be. All right, let's put this race on, hit the gas or hit the brakes. As I said, I always enjoy these races. Anytime we come to these races, it brings up the conversation of these tracks don't belong in NASCAR. These aren't the types of races that we want to see. I think that's a bunch of blah, blah, blah. These are the tracks that I come to see each and every weekend. These are the tracks that I love, and this is the type of racing that is simply unique to NASCAR. And today's race was respectful, was clean, and I think the drivers handled themselves very professionally out there. So with that, I am hitting the gas all the way, gas pedal down, hitting the gas. I'm giving this race a A on the sheet. There was intense racing, but respectful racing, and there wasn't a lot of crashes, and there was chaos. But like I say all the time, chaos doesn't always have to be about, wrecking each other out. So that's that. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.